Okay, here's a video overview of my setup for the recording that I did. I was using just the compressor, the OCD overdrive, which has very little gain on it right now, and the Boss Giga delay, which goes right out to the, that goes to the amp. And the amp is, let me pull that up, is a Fender Hot Rod DeVille, which is mic'd, that goes to a mixer. Okay, for my mixer here, it's the Roland VM3100 Pro. It's like an 8-channel mixer with, it's actually, you can get more than that out of it, but basically my mic goes right into channel 4, which is the guitar, and then I also have set up on the mixer a stereo channel 5 and 6, which is actually for the jam station, which is it's a jam station all in itself. It has some really cool stuff on it. I don't know if I can pull something up real quick. Yeah. It's got all different kinds of styles. But I pretty much use that just as a sound source. It's got all kinds of sounds in it: keyboard, bass. It even has drums, and the drums are pretty good. But for the actual drum and bass sounds that I use for my backing track, the sound module is the Boss DR880, which is a really good drum machine, and it's got a bunch of drum tracks already in it as well. It's got like 400 different grooves. And plus you can also program and load your own and stuff as well. But like I said, I just use this really as a sound module, and use that for the audio for my backing tracks. We're going to move to the interface that goes into the computer. Okay, this may seem a little redundant, but it works for what I got going on. Out of the mixer, I use the stereo output on it that goes right into the line in of my VS Studio 20, which works with my Cakewalk Sonar recording software that I use, and it also mixes as well. But the thing about it, it's USB, and it's really a cool piece. It works for me. But anyhow, I do a stereo output from my Roland into this, and then basically what I'm doing is taking the headphones output after I have everything mixed, that goes straight out to a laptop, which does the video recording and audio recording. The webcam that I'm using is a Microsoft Live HD 1080 DP, and basically record that using my laptop. My workstation, if I tried to do, if I run the webcam off of my normal recording workstation, either the audio or the video gets choppy, so I have to do a separate setup. It basically using 2 computers to do this. But the other way of getting around that is if you had like an MP3 player that you could use for your backing track and plug that in. So there's a separate separate input that has the audio, rather than playing the audio and doing the recording on one computer. Okay, this is actually the backing track software that I'm using. It's called Jammer Pro 6, which is a fairly easy program to use if you want to dive in and learn it. It's not that expensive, a lot cheaper than Band in the Box, and I feel more flexible as long as you're willing to go down and learn how to design your own styles and stuff. But this is a basic layout of what I got. This is the track for the song that I have. This is actually a chord sheet that I can go in and put in chords to play, and I'll give it, I don't know how this will sound, but this is all MIDI, and it's using MIDI ports here. Here's a bass. This top line here is a bass track. This down here is a drum, and then the other 3 tracks are various rhythm tracks that I've set up. But you know, you can look at it in different views: MIDI view, style editor, which does a lot of stuff. Too much to say, but basically, I don't know if you can see where it's actually scrolling across the top, and I can actually see where I'm at within the song. This is an intro, and then we go into a verse. But anyhow, that's the basic jam track that I'm using. Okay, this is my laptop, and over here I've got my headphone out, which goes into my mixer, so I can actually monitor after I've recorded something. I can play it back and go through the mixer, which also goes through my PA and everything that I have here. And then the other input is the line in / mic input that actually comes from the headphone output of my V-Studio 20 workstation to get the audio in, and the webcam is hooked up to this right here, and that's kind of the software, I guess you can see there in the middle, that's running the CyberLink UCam, which came with the laptop when I bought it. And that works pretty much for me. Like I said, if I try to do audio and video on the same computer, even the laptop, and I don't know what the deal is, but either the video will be a little choppy or the audio will break up. It just can't handle the processing of audio and video, especially when it's playing the audio itself. And like I said, the easiest way to work around that, if you have that issue, is use like an MP3 player, like an iPod, or even sometimes my phone. Just use that for the backing track. Create your backing track, or download your backing track and put it on a player that you can plug directly right into your computer using whatever port. You know, it all depends on your sound card too as well. Everybody's different. And my system setup is probably a bit overkill, but it works for me, and that's how I do it. After doing a little bit of thinking, I would say probably most people who are trying to do this, their biggest problem is their sound card, or like on a laptop or whatever, you've only got one audio in, so that would be covered for your guitar. The easiest way to get around that, and I've done this before and it works very well, like I said, if you used an MP player or even a CD player or whatever that you had that you could play your backing track on, use a splitter. This is a 1/4 inch. You can also get them in 1/8 inch, and mix. You're going to have to mix the level, you know, via the MP3 player or the iPod by adjusting the volume level of the overall track to balance between your track and your guitar. But this is the easiest way to get around if you have just a single input. And the other, you know, obviously most guitar chords are 1/4 inch, so you can also get 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapter, which will also go into a regular 1/8 inch. I've got an 1/8 inch one around, but I don't know where it's actually packed up in my road gear that I take with me, because I usually use like that various setup. I'll use a separate player to plug in and mix, and I will jam on the road using my laptop. But that's the easiest way to get around something that's only got a single input, and the other option is finding yourself a little small mixer, and that's the thing that saves me is the mixer, because I can mix my tracks down to a single stereo mix which goes straight into the computer, and that's probably the easiest way to do that for someone that doesn't have a mixer. And you can pick them up at Radio Shack for just a few bucks.